Okay, let's make sure this is working. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Hopefully, really well. Let's see if this works. Cool. All right, we're live. Let's post it on the different places. All righty. Let's do here. Minute ping. Here is the Dumbphone Livestream for February 2026. By the way, yeah, everybody, I'm so sorry that this is coming so late without any announcements. I've had a very hectic February. Some job transitions, things have been happening at work, so I haven't had as much time as I wanted. Yeah, so kind of like super busy, but we're gonna do the best that we can with today's live stream, and we're gonna be looking at a very exciting. Let me take this out. Very exciting. Let me see if I can punch out a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay, cool. Very exciting times right now with the upcoming edition of the new feature from the Sunbeam F1. I'll be talking about that today. Here, let me put this here. Oh, it should work. Yes, perfect. All right. And of course, if you have any questions or anything, make sure to put them in the comments, and I'll be interacting and going through that. But today I wanted to start with this announcement of the Sunbeam F1 NumberLink. This is now live, and NumberLink is a great quality of life improvement for the Sunbeam F1. Let me move my camera here, because it is something that a lot of people, especially people who may need smart apps or whatever, but they may want to switch to a dumb phone during the evening or the weekend, will have now access to this great service. So the idea is you have a smartphone and you have a dumb phone, and you can share in between those contacts, call logs, and messages. So they have clients for different operating systems. So they have Windows, they have Mac, they have Linux, they have iPhone / iPad, and they have Android. And you can have the host be your dumb phone, the Sunbeam F1, or you can also make your Android the host, and then the secondary will be the Sunbeam F1, or also like a secondary could be the what's it called here? I'm sorry, I'm kind of blanking right now. The secondary could be your tablet or your laptop. And I have just been testing for a few hours, so I don't have a lot of kind of like knowledge on how it all works and what are some of the bugs that need to be figured out, et cetera, et cetera. But I will be working on that pretty soon, because I'll be doing a video probably next week, about how it works and how my experience has been. Already so far is great. Personally, I really like it. But yeah, it's like kind of like I don't necessarily know yet all of the different things. So give me a second. I need to post this. Dumbphone Livestream, February 2026. Yeah. And again, the goal of this is, if you need a dumb phone or you want a dumb phone, but you also need a smartphone, but you don't want to have two different phone numbers, now you can have one phone number that is shared between them. You just need data on the smartphone or on the different device to make it work. So let me do a demo, like the little demo that I can do here. There are some things that I don't necessarily, I'm super enthused about, but this is from a reviewer standpoint. It's not necessarily from a consumer standpoint. So as a consumer, no issues whatsoever. But as a reviewer, I'm like, well, I wish that wasn't shown, because then I could show you more stuff, which is a little bit of a bummer. So let's go to the demo area here. So here's an example. This is their number, so I don't mind showing it, but this is one of the things I was going to say. So even if you put a contact here, then it will still show the numbers. So as a reviewer, I don't like that because, you know, sometimes I'm talking with people in my work or that kind of stuff. These are kind of like test numbers as well. So, but you know, I'm also have a little bit of conversation. So I'm like, I'm not going to try to show numbers that are now public, right? But this one's a public number, so it doesn't matter. So you can see that the history is replicated. So whatever I type here, you also see it right here on the application, on the NumberLink application that they have. And you're able to receive the text messages, and you're also going to be able to see the text messages here. So if you have a smart device, it will showcase the history right here. Of course, this is a black and white screen, so we cannot really appreciate everything that's happening. But here I'll show you. I'll send that text. I'll just say hello again. And then it'll send me that text message that, hey, this number does not accept text messages. But you will see that it is automatically replicated on the system as well. So as you see right there, it changed so to hello, and then the response, and you get a notification of what the response is and which number is coming from. So now you're going to be able to see that on the smart device. This is an excellent feature for those people that, hey, I need a smart device for the weekend, or I need a smart device for work, but whenever I come home, I'm going to, you know, kind of flip and use the device as is. My dumb phone, right? And then I'm going to use this at the office, right? So for example, like, let's say that you go to work, you take your smart device with you, you get all of your text messages from your flip phone, forward it to this application, and you can reply to the text messages and also get the phone calls. I have not tested thoroughly the phone call functionality, so I'll be testing that over the next few days to kind of see like, okay, how does it work? How does it, you know, do all of these things? Now, I'm excited about this because it helps you. You can also connect it to a kind of like computer. So I also have the application. I cannot show you that application, how it works live, because again, I have personal identifiable information. But on the review next week, I'll blur some of those details and be able to show you some of those extra things, like how does it look on Mac and how does it look on Android, you know, and are the phone calls coming in, like what can you do? So you're able to see the phone call log as well, but I don't think you're able to make a phone call yet. So it's not like going to be kind of like pinging and doing some of this number forwarding or something like that. But I think it's excellent that they have developed this feature because a lot of people do need a smartphone for whatever reason, you know, from time to time. And I think it's just a great added bonus, right? That you have the ability to do this and that the company has decided to do this. Now, this does have a cost, so let's talk about this. And I think the cost is actually worth it. I personally don't like subscriptions, just my personal 2 cents. But this is such a quality of life added bonus that I actually don't mind paying it. So the cost is, they have two different systems. You can just get the NumberLink. So this is just the feature, no extra services. And you pay $4.50 per month. And you can also pay yearly to get a little bit of a discount and pay $50. So if you pay $50, you know, that's just a little bit of a discount. It comes out, I think, to like $4.17 or something like that, or maybe less than that. So you get, you know, a very, very small discount. Or you can get the bundled premium NumberLink. So that means that here, let's go to the purchase subscription area so you can see what that entails. And you can bundle it with the premium services. So premium services in the past used to be $3.50. And that means voice to text, extended weather, and navigation if available on the phone, and the NumberLink service. So if you have the NumberLink service, so that's alone $4.50. If you had the premium services alone, that used to be $3.50. If you want to bundle them both, it's going to be $6.50 a month, or yearly you can pay $70. And I think this is worth it because, again, it allows you to have the same number on a smart device and also on your regular phone. Here's the hack. So I guess you're here in the live stream, you get to hear the hacks that I would do personally. So I will put my main SIM card number on the Sunbeam F1. That's what I would do. I will put it on the Sunbeam F1, and then I will go to this carrier called Helium. Here's in the United States, so this is just an example. Helium Mobile in the United States, and I will get, for the smart device, I will get the $0 plan. So they have a $0 plan that has 3 gigs of free data, 100 minutes of voice, and 300 text. The good thing is that this is not using text messages on the device. So this plan, you will not even use the text messages. You will just download the NumberLink application, and then you will be using the 3 gigs of data to essentially reply to people back and forth or give them a call. That's how I would do it. I will put my main SIM card, one that you pay, whatever amount, to the application, right? Like you would do it. And then I will get a 0 plan from Helium Mobile and put this SIM card with 3 gigs of data on the smartphone. So whenever you take the smartphone, you have whatever, you're doing and you have 3 gigs of data, and then you put it back, and then you have the Sunbeam F1 on your main SIM card. That's how I would do it personally, to kind of like not have to pay 2 different plans, right? So like, you get something like the US Mobile. Here, let me put the US Mobile plan here. So you go to US Mobile, you get a very cheap plan for a dumb phone. Here is their plan for the light plan for digital minimalists. You pay $8 a month. You get 2 gigs of premium data for your dumb phone, which you probably don't need a lot. And then you get a free SIM card with the 0 plan. You still pay like taxes and fees, so you end up paying like $1 or something like that. But you get 3 gigs of free data and about 100 minutes of voice, 300 text, just kind of like in case of emergency, if you ever need something like that. So, you have technically you have 2 phone numbers, but you only use one because you have the main phone number on the Sunbeam F1. It showcases here and the use cases. So you have the main one, Sunbeam F1, and then you connect the NumberLink to the host device. I'm sorry, to the secondary device. So you have the Sunbeam F1 as host, and then the secondary device you can take with you, for the day. And then when you come back, you have a dumb phone for the evening to disconnect, or for the weekend to disconnect, and I think that is a great balance, that you can have. So I highly recommend that you take a look into this. I'm going to put the link for the Sunbeam Wireless company in the comments. So if you want to check it out, make sure to check it out. I'll also put it in the description. Great company. They not only continue to, support the device and create features, but now they have this amazing service that works with the Sunbeam F1. But hopefully eventually it will work with other dumb phones, right? So like that's kind of like the hope and dream for some of this stuff. And yeah, I'm super, super excited about the possibilities, because this means that you can have a tablet with, kind of like maybe data or something like that. And this just allows you to use it. You have a dumb phone you have a dumb phone for home and for the weekend, and then maybe you need a smartphone for work. So you go to work, you do all of these things, and yeah, you kind of have that experience. And I personally like that a lot. I like this new service. I'm actually, again, I don't like subscriptions, but I think it's worth it. For $6.50, I think it's extremely worth it. And I don't mind paying it. I used to be maybe like, oh man, like this is not worth it. But honestly, I think this is something that I personally love, because now I can have my work phone. And if for the day I'm going to need a smartphone, hey, I'm going to bring it with me. Or I can bring a tablet, right? Like, so I can have a tablet and leave the phone at home, because, hey, I don't need to have it with me all the time. Maybe I have a smart tablet like an iPad, or, you're not pulling out your iPad all the time. Like, it looks kind of ridiculous. Or you can just bring a laptop, right? Like, so most of us work and you have a laptop when you're working on the go, and now you have access to your text messages. If anything, this is also a convenient feature just to text from your desktop. One of the weaknesses, these are conveniences that at the end of the day, smartphones have, right? Like, you're able to connect your smartphone to your desktop and text from your desktop. Now you can do the same with the Sunbeam F1, which, to me, that's a very, very added bonus, something that I really think that is worth it to just pay for that. Like, I'm like, is it worth it $4 to be able to text from my computer? Yes, absolutely. Like, that's a no-brainer, right? Like, I don't have to be pulling it out and fiddling with a T9 all the time. Instead, you have that. So let me show you the other premium features, because again, I bought the $6.50 version. So you can go to your messages. Here, let's go to messages. And in this case, you can voice to type. So, if you press this button right here, the mail button, and you maintain it pressed, then you have the voice to type. So this is a premium feature that they have included with the device, and you're going to be able to do that. Another thing is that you are also going to be able to speak a different language and is going to be able to do the voice to type as well. So let me show you that. If you map a different key, this is on this kind of settings for the voice to text. Ahora tú puedes hablar español y lo va a traducir sin ningún problema con texto, voz con texto, y te permite hacer todo eso en otro idioma. So as you see right there, it has 2 languages. You can set up different languages for this. So yeah, so you have that ability to be able to use it pretty easily. So you can subscribe right now to NumberLink. So go check it out. And then you'll be able to get the application. I'll show you how to do that if you do the beta services. So here is the system. So if you go to your phone and then you go to updates, you'll be able to see, as always, they maintain things updated on the device. But you can go to settings and you can go to early access updates right there. And if you toggle them on, you should be able to get the NumberLink service, which looks like this setting. So before right there, so you have NumberLink host, and you'll be able to set it up. I cannot show you this right now because, again, it has personal identifiable information. But I'll be able to show you in the review when I can blur the little identifiable things, and you have to set up a passcode for that. Now, other premium services, let me go for the weather. So the weather, you have premium services as well, because you're going to be able to get daily and also the radar. So you'll be able to look into it, and then you can see the animation if there is any rain or anything happening in your area. In my area, there's nothing happening over the next few days, just sunny skies. But now you'll be able to kind of take a look at it in the current weather and that kind of stuff. So yeah, so that's one thing. And I think the other thing is navigation features. That's for the regular navigation features, not the Waze. So you're able to use Waze without the need of the subscription. Again, I'm not a fan of subscriptions, but this is the one subscription that I'm like, wow, it's going to make the Dumbphone experience just so much better, so much cleaner, so much easier to use. And I think it's worth it. As you know, I have had this device for a few days now, the site phone. I was using this over the last few days, but yesterday, I think, or today, yesterday, yeah, I got the update for the NumberLink, and I was like, okay, I gotta switch. So I switched my SIM card from the site phone, which I was using for testing purposes and all of that stuff, and I switched it to the Sunbeam F1 to start testing some of the NumberLink and bring you some of the updates today on how it works and how it's been kind of developing. So NumberLink, go check it out. I'm very, very excited. I think it's an excellent idea. And it's going to also help with the money, right? For the company, right? It's like, you have a subscription, you purchase it. And yeah, again, it syncs your data. It has all of the things. And there's also documentation. So if you want to learn a little bit more about how it all works, they also have added documentation to the, let's see, where is it? Browse articles. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. So there is a NumberLink section now that I was able to see. There it is. And you can set it up, right? So I want to send messages from any device. I want to share phone line for parental oversight. That's kind of like another use case. What can NumberLink do for me? NumberLink is in syncing, troubleshooting, how to install the apps. And they kind of explain a little bit more of how it all works. So if you have the host, they send the text message to a hosted secure server. It has 2-factor authentication. At least, you have to be able to get a code to get some of these things working. And then you have like the PC client, the tablet client, and it explains to you how it all works. So if you want to kind of like go read about, hey, how does this work? How do you do it? Et cetera, et cetera. And they also have other helpful articles right there that may be able to give you a little bit more understanding about what can the Sunbeam F1 do. But I mean, number one, this has been one of the best companies when it comes to support. They've been able to update the devices. They've been able to make hardware revisions over time. And it's just nice. It's just nice to see a company really care about the customers and introduce a very, very amazing feature like NumberLink. Is the company perfect? No, like no device is perfect, no company is perfect. But I think that this is a very, very good deal that you're not going to be able to find in, most other companies right now in the dumbphone space. So if you want to text from your computer, this is a, great feature. Okay, that's the NumberLink stuff that we need to go over. We need to go over it like a little demo so you can see how it works. And then I'll be bringing a more like robust review with like, okay, what worked, what didn't, what are some of the improvements that I'm hoping for in the future, that kind of stuff. Sidephone has been released, and now there are the US editions are the Sidephone US Founders editions are out there. They also have added this kind of like pop-up if you want to get, more information for whenever the worldwide availability is kind of like there. So you can fill out the form for whenever they ship to other areas. Right now, as we know, it's only in the United States, and it has the 3 tiles. I've been using this one, the QWERTY tile. This one is still, in my opinion, not functional because it doesn't have a back key, or it doesn't have the ability to, because of the back key mainly, like because you can type, you can do everything, but you don't have the back key. This is the current most functional tile because you are able to use it for kind of like every scenario, right? Like, if you want to type, if you want to text, if you want to call, etc., etc. Really excited about them. Many people have posted, let's look at the Reddit for the Sidephone. Many people have posted that and that they received it, and they're really excited about it, how they're using it, etc., etc. Oh, I guess somebody decided to eat. Is this made up or is this real? I have no idea. I don't know. I think this is made up. Somebody just put the red button right there. I don't think it's real. Hopefully not. Hopefully they didn't damage their phone. But people are getting it delivered, right? So, like, hey, this is pretty cool. People with their cases. I actually have a lot of cases. This is a good thing and a bad thing. I'll be able to give away a lot of these cases, but honestly, I didn't need this many cases. The team just sent me pretty much every color. I was just like, guys, like, no, there's a lot. So I have the cases for the wheel, the click wheel, and I have the cases for the phone. So if you have a Sidephone and you didn't get a case and you want a case, just send me an email. I'll be the easiest way. I'm not going to be giving these away because they're kind of like super niche, not only super niche, but also like, come on, like there's a lot of colors and a lot of things. So if you have been looking for a special silicone case that they make, or a specific color, and you didn't get it, but you want to get a Sidephone, or if you're going to buy a Sidephone and you don't want to buy the case, just send me an email and I'll be like, hey, I still have this one available, etc., etc. So yeah, again, I have like pretty much every color. Send me an email because my wife hates it when I have too many dumb phones or dumb phone accessories that I need to get rid of. Yes, so please just email me if you're going to get a Sidephone, and yeah, it's just kind of like one of those things. But yeah, people have been getting them. People have been doing the comparisons, that kind of stuff. And as you see right here, somebody decided to print and laminate. I think this is Retro. Yeah, Jake from Returning Retro. He decided to put a sticker on top just to kind of not get lost on the letters. That is a solution. I hopefully eventually they'll be able to do these solutions and put the letters themselves, but as of right now, the community is figuring it out. So yeah, Sidephone is released. Go check them out. I'm really excited about them. I think it says they have fewer than 20 units left in stock. So, probably that's the first 1,000, and people are like, looking into some of this kind of stuff, right? So yeah, again, a cool phone. Let me do a little bit more demo. If you have specific questions, put them. We'll be doing a demo in just a little bit. Okay. Let's do some Q&A in 5 minutes. I'll do a Q&A, so make sure to put your questions right now, and we'll be looking into it in just a second. Let me do an update on. Okay, so there's a lot of conversation about digital minimalism and dumb phones right now, and there's also a problem. I think we have a problem coming up, and I think the problem is the same thing that has happened with other alternative movements or challenging the status quo movements in the past. And this is the problem. So there was a video that this journalist, I don't necessarily, I'm not saying she's a bad journalist. I'm just thinking like she didn't necessarily struck me as a person who had a lot of research on the matter. But this person, her name is Taylor Lorenz, and she did this video about dumb phone owners have lost their minds, and people were like, she was saying essentially, dumb phones are unnecessary and digital minimalism. She called it the log off industrial complex, essentially saying that this is a kind of like grift, that people are trying to like get money out of you by selling you retro things. And I can agree to a degree that there is a little bit of an issue when it comes to the pricing and accessibility of certain products, not all products, but of certain products, right? But also, like, I think this was a very unfortunate take, because she's essentially saying that there's no need for more options in the world. And I'm like, no, we need more options. Like, we don't need to be dominated by one monopoly or duopoly of companies, right? But the comment section is what's best, because honestly, tons of people are just essentially, to a degree, defending dumb phones. They're like, I love your content more generally, but the lack of nuance in your videos about the internet and social media honestly strikes me as genuinely irresponsible. It ends up being about just whataboutism to explain the positives of it, while completely ignoring how genuinely problematic the current state of these technologies are. Talking about smartphones, talking about social media, stuff like that. I had to check the comments. I've heard you and your guests just casually agreed this normalization of teens not having to do their socializing in school, but getting to go home and do it from their couch as a positive cultural development. These are isolating consumerist habits of nuclear culture. Like, I mean, you can just go off into all of this. No one told me to get a dumb phone, essentially, and I didn't pay $400, because her thumbnail was essentially like, this is costing you $400, which, yes, we do have an issue with pricing in the dumb phone community. There's some phones that are, really cheap. There are phones that are really expensive, but you kind of have to take the context into consideration. And I'll go into that in just a little bit. And then, okay, I like to understand that it's good and necessary for people to use the internet, but when I use my flip phone for 3 years, it helped me get a little more grounded in my life. Okay, so, a bunch of people just saying like, hey, look, like, you are essentially saying that this is a moral panic, or like that the smartphones are the only way, but people are really saying like, wow, we have an issue with social media and smartphones, and you're not even acknowledging that, right? So this person, what is Taylor talking about? There have been leaks of 10,000 internal Facebook documents showing that Facebook ran experiments on teenage girls. They were able to find what social impact their new features will have on public. Turns out if you artificially limit the reach of teenagers exposed, they feel worse about themselves and are more likely to buy a beauty product. I mean, look at that. Like, and there are a lot of releases actually on this matter lately. So, number one, don't waste an hour of your time watching this video. You can get a gist probably if you do a sample of 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I personally was surprised that a journalist essentially just said like, oh, like, you don't need a dumb phone, which is to a degree true, but also like there's no problem with social media and smartphones. I'm like, those are two different things. So I did make a she had a conversation with Elana Klein, who is another person that wrote an article. Here, where is she? This girl. So Elana wrote an article which I reacted to. She wrote this article by the same name, which is called "Dumbphone Users Have Lost Their Minds." And here she makes a philosophical argument. She doesn't make a consumerist argument to a degree. She makes a more like, oh, the iPhone has replaced so many things in my life that I don't see myself living without it. And I essentially reacted to that on my newsletter. I look into it and, kind of like go into some of the problems with her framing to a large degree. And the philosopher's framing, I was actually very surprised because this is working from the extended mind hypothesis. And I did a paper on that when I was doing my master's, and I talked about it. And it's very interesting because it's like the extended mind theory is important, and they were looking at notebooks back in the day. This is the 1990s, right? Like, how notebooks affect our memory, and notebooks actually helped our memory more and they extended our memory, but they did it in a way that it was tactile instead of a smartphone, and this is an interesting article. So I'm going to link this one if you haven't read it, so you can go read it. Don't necessarily read the don't read the or watch the podcast / interview. I think it's definitely, I watched like 10 minutes of it and I was just like, okay, now this is terrible. Like, this is a terrible take. Not necessarily because it is true that we need a pricing correction to a degree, but I'll talk about that in just a second. But to say that there's no problems with social media, and that she even said at some point in time that social media addiction doesn't exist, I was like, yeah, what you're saying is that social media neurological dependency in the brain stem doesn't exist like in the same way that it exists for drug addicts, but the same problematic behaviors that drug addicts like substance abuse have, we have a similar issue with smartphones. It's not the same because it is not a physical substance dependency, but it is presenting similar outcomes for mental health, and we have to grapple with that. So again, a lot to talk about in this specific video, but just wanted to kind of mention it in passing if you haven't checked it out. I'm going to put my newsletter as well, so you can look at my thoughts on this. And yeah, it's quite interesting, to me, that for people to say like, hey, we have a pricing issue. Okay, I can agree with that. We can go into that. We can talk about how to reduce that. But to go from there to say there is no social media addiction, there is no problem with smartphones, I'm like, okay, those are completely different things, right? So yeah, there you go. Cool. All right, so let's do Q&A. Let's do Q&A now, and let's get into it. Yes. Okay, so let's see your questions. All right, so people are talking about Sunbeam F1 Pro user. Hey, Randy, I'm glad you like it. Let's see. People are interested in this. Okay. All right. First question. Alt Companion, does the connected phone need mobile data, or you could just hotspot it for Wi-Fi? You just need a Wi-Fi connection. You don't need mobile data. You just need Wi-Fi connection. So yeah, if you don't even want to spend on the 0 plan from Helium Mobile, you don't have to. You can just, kind of like get Wi-Fi and you should be good to use it. So yeah, no need. All right. Homie says, hey, Jose, I appreciate your channel. I found it recently. Any recs for a dumb smartphone around $300 to $400? I have the Wise Phone 2 right now, and it's been pretty disappointing. Good question. I guess I'll take this to also talk about pricing and how pricing, kind of is taken into consideration. So you have the Wise Phone right now. So let's go to techless.com, I think. Yes, perfect. I got it right. I wasn't going to go. So the Wise, they now have a different one. So wisephone.com. This company essentially sells a Samsung Galaxy A15, I think, something like that, or A51. It's a low budget smartphone. And what they do is essentially they filter it. They sell it for $399. Oh, there it is, A15. A hardware model for open box is Samsung Galaxy A15. So it requires a subscription, which I'm not a fan of, and you pay like $399, and then you can have available apps. So if you've been finding this experience buggy, but you still need apps, because I'm pretty sure that the reason why you went into the Wise phone is that you needed apps in your ecosystem. I'll give you 3 suggestions. So the first one is to go and maybe learn how to do this on your own, right? So if you don't trust yourself, I definitely understand that point of view, but you can just learn ADB. Get a Pixel device, so like a Pixel maybe 8A. It's too expensive, I guess. Pixel 7A maybe. Let's see, how much is that? Okay, there you go. You can get a Pixel 7A from Amazon for $200. Let's see, a Pixel 8A, just for if Amazon has better pricing. Okay, there you go. So $279 to get a refurbished Pixel 8A, which is 2 generations ago. It's still gonna get updates, and that kind of stuff. And then you go learn ADB. So if you need a guide, essentially how to remove social media, Reddit guide. So there is a guide, ADB, on the dumb phones, and people have made. Where is this guide? Let me find it. It's on the Dumbphone subreddit. So let's guide Android lockdown. Okay, I see it. Right, come on. Dumbify your. There it is. It was just 8 days ago. Yeah, I knew I saw it. So 8 days ago, this person put dumbifying your Android smartphone, a guide, and he kind of like goes through everything that you need to do, etc., etc. Right. So yeah. So learn how to do it. But if you don't want to learn how to do it and you're like, no, I just want to purchase something that is about $400, then go into the Sleek. So Sleek is a company that essentially uses the same approach, similar approach to the Wise phone. However, they don't have a subscription. Yay, number 1. And number 2, they use better hardware. So they use the Pixel 7A, or 7, not the 7A. They use a Pixel 7. It costs a little bit more than $400. But it's, I think, a great option. You have the Pixel phone, and they have restricted the App Store. So they only have, let's see here, App Store. Is it loading? Yes, it is. Okay, so here are the available apps, and you can search if they are available. So for example, popular apps we don't support, popular categories we don't support, etc., etc. But let's look into, I don't know, PayPal. There it is. It is available. Or if you have 1Password, let's see, Bitwarden maybe as a password manager, it is available. WhatsApp. Okay, there it is. WhatsApp Business, WhatsApp Messenger, it is available. So go into the sleek.io website. Here, let me put a link. If you end up purchasing it, and you want to use my link, that's fine. If you don't, that's okay too. Not the end of the world. But I'll give you the opportunity to decide. So I think it's a good solution. They definitely have they definitely have done pretty well in supporting and updating and creating new features. I believe that they are about to release Android Auto, or some sort of projection software into the car. So that is an added plus. And my other recommendation for about the same price is the minimal phone. They recently have done a lot of cleanup work on, and I also put a link in the comments right there. So the minimal phone is another one. They recently, as I said, minimal phone. Minimal company, that's what it is. They recently did a revamp of their leadership, and a lot of people have been reporting that that they are getting their devices now in a timely fashion. So, really happy about this. I personally have one, and I have used this as my work phone for the past 8 months now. Yes, 8 months. So I've had it for the past 8 months as my work device. And it has a QWERTY keyboard, it has a black and white screen, but you can have all of the applications that you want. But because of the black and white screen, even if you have media apps, it's not going to be the most exciting experience. So I think if you're kind of like pressed on that budget, for oh, they went up in price. Oh, I didn't know that. That's sad. Well, I guess they went up in price to $449. It used to be $399. I was gonna say, like, that's probably like, the perfect thing right now. So you have $399. But if you've been looking for a device, I think it's worth to spend a little bit more either on the sleek or on the minimal phone, personally. And I can show you here. I'll do like a little small demo here of the minimal phone. Again, this device has been my device for the past little bit, and I've had a good time with it. It's a good battery life. Also, you have the black and white screen. So here, let me go into a video. So if you try to watch a video, it's not even going to be a pleasant experience. So let's go to watch. Let's just watch site phone. Let's see if like, there's my video. Okay, sure, I'll watch it. Why not? So if you try to watch a video, I mean, this is how it's going to look. And while you can technically watch it, it's not a great experience in my opinion, right? So, yeah, it's kind of like an emergency, like, oh yeah, I really, really want to look into this. But no, I don't necessarily think it's the best experience. So I don't recommend that you use it for entertainment purposes. But when it comes to other things, right? Like, like let's say that you want to do maybe transit or maps, or Libby, for example. Like, this supports pretty much every app. You'll be able to have those apps. It's just black and white, and you kind of have to get used to it, right? So you kind of have to get used to like how it all works. But you're able to use like the different apps that you want, and whichever way you want it, right? Like, like you can get FM radio, you can get ESPN scores. So for example, like, I have that on this device, and you're going to be able to get your scores in one way or another, read your news or whatever it is that you want to do. But the black and white really is not conducive for extended usage, right? So another device that you could purchase for about, if you don't want it to be super smart, right? So if you don't need all of the apps and that kind of stuff, then yeah, I mean, for example, Sunbeam F1, we just talked about this. The Sunbeam F1 is an excellent device for about, depending on whether you get the Horizon or the Pro. I would get the Pro probably, personally. You can get it for $249, and you can get the Pro for $329. So, a lot. I would personally go with the Pro just because it's more rugged. You also have the Jelly Star. That's another one. It's a tiny device. So Jelly Star. And the Jelly Star is the world's smallest Android 13 right now smartphone, but is going to get updated to Android 16. So if you want a very, very tiny smartphone that is not meant to be for doom scrolling, then this is another option. It's actually one of my top recommendations on the Dumbphone Finder. Just because it is so small that, it's going to reduce your screen time, 9 out of 10 times, right? So I'll send a link to that as well in the chat. And I recommend that you check into it. So it's going to be a better experience than the Wise Phone 2. The Wise Phone 2 is just built upon a very low budget device. And unfortunately, that's just kind of like what it is. So I would go into Jelly Star, Sunbeam F1 if you don't need all of the features, and kind of like other one of those. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully that helps you with with some of the questions. Okay, next is, oh, Mudita Compact. That's another one. Yeah, the Mudita Compact, is another device. It's an e-ink screen. If you don't want a minimal phone, the Mudita Compact is probably another great option. Yeah, so these are my top 5 options from companies that are doing updates and have a good reputation. The minimal phone was here, but they had too many issues with shipping. I'm going to wait probably another 2-3 months to hear good feedback from people, and then I'll put them back as a great option again on the top 5. Okay, let's see. Rexmix says, I bought a Zen Mega Life and have been having text messaging issues on Verizon. I turned off RCS, but some texts were not coming through until I turned on and off airplane mode. Any idea of a solution? Contact them. I haven't heard of many issues with Verizon, with people. Just make sure that you are on CDMA less provisioning. Hopefully that helps. But the other thing is to make sure to follow the guide for messaging. So messaging setup. So I'm going to put it as well in the links. So the Sleek guide, Sleek made a guide of how to switch to essentially from a regular Android iOS device to a de-Googled minimal or feature phone. And this is an extensive guide that helps you essentially make sure that there are no issues with your RCS. RCS has been the pain of the existence in the Dumbphone community for the last few years, unfortunately. So yeah, I really think that hopefully we'll be able to fix this. But in the meantime, go through this guide, sleek.io/messaging setup, and they have a very extensive guide of what to do, how much to wait, figure it out, how the RCS protocol, how to disable it, all of that kind of stuff. Good and helpful page as well for anybody that's having RCS issues. So there you go. Next question, frequency 1109 says, hi, how would you rate SitePhone in a scale of 1 to 10? If I had to rate it today, it depends. So I'll rate it with the tiles. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. We are back. Okay, so let's do the first one. So if I had to rate it with the QWERTY tile, so this one right here is an 8 out of 10. Great device, works. You're able to type. You're able to get to your messages. You can download applications. You can do anything that you need to do. You have maps. It worked actually beautifully the other day that I tested. I went to run a few errands, no issues, By the way, there are some transitions at work, and I'll be having about 2 weeks where I am in transition from work. So I will be experimenting with a new series for the channel called, what was I going to call it? Field testing or field I came up with a name. I was just like field days, with a Dumbphone. So I'm going to take out the Dumbphone into a regular day, and we're going to put it through like 5 or 6 tests, something like that, and see how it does. I think it's something that a lot of people would love to see, like, okay, getting me from point A to point B, driving, yada yada yada, payments, stuff like that. Yeah, I wanted to, this has always been a hobby for me and something that I've been able to do thanks to all of you, but it's not my full-time job. It's something that I take time to, kind of update the community, all of that. But these next 2 weeks, maybe a month, I'll be having a little more flexibility as I transition from one job to another. And as a result, I have more time. And well, I said, like, yeah, field testing will be something that I usually don't have the time to shoot a full video, but I wanted to do it. So again, with that in mind, the experience with the QWERTY tile is an 8 out of 10. No issues whatsoever. Been enjoying it. The experience with the T9. So this is the regular T9 tile. Probably a 4, 5 out of 10 right now. I mean, like I said, this locks the device. You're not able to use the keys automatically and press them for the dialer whenever you are on the messaging experience. Here, let me see. Sorry. Whenever you're in the messaging experience, if you want to send a text message, you're able to type. Let's do traditional T9. But right now, you are not able to delete something. If you want to, you can. So if you go to TT9, so there is a special feature, I think it's an appearance. And then you do, where is it? No. There is a feature here. I don't remember what it is. Nope. No, that's not the one. There it is. The function keys one. So if you do a message and you type, now you have the delete right there. So you'll be able to use it. And that maybe takes it to a 5, maybe a 6, you know. But without all of the customizations, if you just got this phone and got the T9 and you didn't do any customizations, you will be lost. Like you wouldn't be able to type except if you did it through the on-screen. And I think that's something that they need to fix. Just my 2 cents, you know, like be able to fix that, because then I had to reach for that. So the experience with this is a 4 or 5, you know, and if you make the customizations, you probably can take it to a 6. With the QWERTY, like I said, an 8, and with the click wheel, right? So this is, in my opinion, probably I would say, yeah, it's a 7, because this is meant to be super simple, right? This is supposed to be a shortcut that whenever you click this, it will take you to the app of your choice. So what you will do is you set it up here on key mapping, and then you do the trigger, right? So like you record the trigger, for example, right there. You go to the action, add an action, launch an app, and then you pick, let's say, calendar, right? You're done. And then we're going to record another trigger. We're going to do the middle one. There you go. Oh. Let's do, there it is, actions, add an action, launch an app. And then let's do WhatsApp. Done. And then when you do that, it should, oh, it's not working. Interesting. Let me just attach it again. Sometimes that happens. Oh, interesting. It is moving. It is not allowing me. This is allowing me to navigate, which didn't before. Huh, interesting. So see, like, this is what I'm talking about. Maybe keys are overwriting. Maybe that's what's going on. Oh, it's not running. That's probably why. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so now it's working. So if you go up or you go middle, there's WhatsApp. So it has to be running. That's another thing, right? So like you have the key mapping. If it's not running, it does other things. But if you do right there, you have the ability to say like, okay, like it's a shortcut. And because this is not meant to be a keyboard, right? I'm okay giving it a 5 and 6. I just found that hiccup. I was just like, yeah, you know. So sorry, 6 or 7, you know, around that. So with this, because it's not meant. This is not meant to be a. It's not meant to be kind of like for the express purpose of running it as a typing device, right? So you are expected to type with the on-screen keyboard because you don't have a keyboard here. So 8 out of 10 with the QWERTY keyboard. 5, maybe 6. 4 on the low end, 4 to 6 on this one, and 6 or 7 on the click wheel tile. I do want to talk about this on the terms that I don't know how this is something that is just going to be able to have to be tested over time. I don't know how confident I am on the matter of the pins. That is something that I'm mildly concerned about, but it's something that I'm not like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the best thing ever, right? So that is something. Okay, more questions. Sorry, guys. I've been taking a little longer on the questions, I think. Let's do this. More questions. All right. Okay, I just bought the AGM M8 Flip. Works fine. Oh, perfect. Is there any way to set up punctuation keyboard shortcuts on the F1 Pro phones? B. Earl. Can you help me understand what you're trying to say? Like, if I press 1, it goes to comma, or something like that, or like extra punctuation that is not necessarily like the regular one that you cycle through. Like this, you cycle through it, right? And you just kind of go through all of the possible outcomes. Are you saying like, hey, if I press star, 7 or whatever, right? Like I'll be able to do something else. Is that what I'm trying to understand that question? Let me know and we'll come back to this one. So, yeah, exactly. Question marks, commas, exclamation points. Okay. No, not at the moment. The only way is to get to the one key. So you get to the 1 key and you cycle through it. That's the easiest way right now. But no key mapping as of right now. But that would be good feedback. I think that would be good feedback that if you maybe press the pound key plus the 6, you'll be able to get to a symbol of your kind of like specific symbol that you want to do. I think that will be a good idea. That'll be a good idea. So good suggestion. I will pass it to them for sure. Okay. Let's see. Frequency 1109. This is not about dumb phones, but do you know if using wireless earphones actually affects badly our brains? This is a loaded question. It shouldn't be. The answer is no in scientific regular terms. So there is a study, however, that I think you need to be aware of. Like, if you put like here, let me try to find the impact of Bluetooth headphones on brain health. So there's a few studies. I don't know if it's this one. But there are people who are more sensitive than others. Let's start by saying that, right? Bluetooth technology has been around, and people are talking about it. There's definitely here's a short clip, 6 minutes, on Andrew Huberman podcast. He's a professor of, I think, eyesight. Is it like ophthalmology at Stanford? And he talks about with this guy about EMF, electromagnetic fields, heat generation, that kind of stuff. I think some people are more susceptible to some of these issues. There's plenty of forums that talk about this, but I don't want you to be alarmed. Maybe don't be so afraid. But look into the research, right? And if you notice something within yourself, then you also note that, right? So again, no scientific evidence links the use of Bluetooth headphones to cancer. Bluetooth emits less radiation than cell phones, et cetera, et cetera. However, there are plenty of kind of studies that have showcased that, hey, while they're safe, there is also exposure that kind of creates more electromagnetic exposure, and you have to be you have to understand that, right? So like, for example, even this, like about hearing loss, or about, kind of like the amount of electromagnetic pulsations that you are allowing into your body. I think it's in conjunction with other things, right? Um, and I think it's important to take all of the evidence. But in short, if I had to answer and say yes or no, I will say no, right? Like that's what the evidence shows. That's what the studies have shown. However, person to person, um, person to person, it is something that you should um, is something that you should explore if it's affecting you personally. I personally use wired headphones. I prefer wire headphones. That is just kind of like it's a preference of mine, something that I prefer doing, and I also have a pair of Bluetooth headphones, but I don't put them in my ears. I have the bone conduction ones because I don't like putting things in my ears. So I think that that's quite important to note into. So science says no, but if you are having personal issues with this, I think it's also important to talk about. Okay. Dr. Gupta, number one, thank you for the live stream. What's it called? Super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you. And it says, do you need to press star to unlock flip phones? It depends. Some flip phones allow it, some don't. So for example, let's take a look into the Sunbeam F1. This is locked, and boom, right there, it's unlocked automatically. But if you try to lock it, yes, it will require the star key. Some do, some don't. It really depends on the manufacturer and on the device. So yeah. Ashley Rigo says, do you think a beeper-like tool or signal is coming on the iPhone 3 sometime soon, like in the next couple of months, or is it far away? Good question. I actually have it here. So there has been communication that the light phone, so for example, this person on X said, I'm still missing encrypted messaging support, but otherwise no notes on the device. They've addressed most software issues, the fingerprint scanner and NFC running not operational. And Lightphone, the main company, said alternative messaging platforms support is a priority, especially one that has encryption. We are most excited about an option for Signal that we have been currently exploring. So yes, beeper is coming to the Lightphone. If I had to put a guess out there, it'll probably come by July. That's my guess. I don't necessarily have any extra information that would corroborate that information yet. But I would say that it's probably this year. It's probably going to happen this year, most likely by July, I would say, if I had to guess. This is something that it's been on their radar for a while. It's just like a matter of like they were trying to ship and get devices out the door and not necessarily using their time to do all of these things right away, right? So for example, here's the iPhone 3, and right now we have messaging and kind of like regular things, right, for the phone. But in the future, we will be able to use the phone in a way that allows us to have extra communication. So yes, I expect it this year at some point in time. And if I were a betting person, I would do it in July. Maybe put your polymarket, bets in if it will be July or if it will be after that. So yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Cool. Cesar had the same question, and yes, it is coming. So yeah. Keeping it real, we do not have a raffle today. Although stay tuned. Yeah, that will work. So yeah, it's gonna work. Okay. Any chance Sunbeam ever release a global version with more carrier bands coverage? Not at the moment. They do have some compatibility outside. So if you go to their page, let's go to here, and you do carriers, they have tested with some carriers outside of the United States, Canada, for example, Canadian carriers using Bell, using Rogers, using Telus, Canadian carriers using Videotron. I guess Videotron is a different company. Israeli carriers. They've been able to work with that, and Argentina, so they went into that. They also have a page for international roaming, although that's mainly in North America. And I have personally used my device in Mexico with Telcel. So I did take it to Mexico one time that I went to visit family. Well, not my family, but my wife's family. And it did work for calls and texts in Mexico without issues. So that's kind of like some other evidence. I would, if I were you, try to see if they can give you maybe a sample. You can look into the IMEI. So they give you a sample IMEI, and like let's go to the UK for example. Like let's go to 3 UK IMEI compatible. Let's see if they have a compatibility tool. Find your device's IMEI number. Maybe. Okay, let's see. Find your device. No, there was an issue. Compatibility check. Compatible check, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. This works. So according to imei.info, yes, this is the device. But I would like to know if it works in the UK. Let's see. No, this is not helping. So I'm trying to find like a IMEI check. Check if your device is 4G LTE VOA compatible. Okay. 3G network. Aha, there's an IMEI check. Perfect. Oh, okay. No. But, okay. Look at the LTE section of the play of the frequencies. Okay, so let's just do that. Let's see this. Check IMEI. Full device specification. Let's look at the bands. So this is what I would do personally, right? Maybe I'll show you what I would do, like if you're trying to find out if it works in your area. Let's see parameters. Okay, perfect. So we have these bands, right? 850, 900, 1800, 1900, right? So that is what shows here. Maybe we'll get more information in the sunbeamwireless.com, maybe in the specs, most likely. Let's see, Pro phone. Ordered the Juniper. Let's see if there's more specifications. Aha, there it is. Okay, so we have a spec sheet right here. Perfect. Okay, so let's go into the bands. Whoever asked me, who asked me? At NixOS, can you tell me which country you're in so I can show you what I would do? Okay, can I go to, yes, I can. Yay. Let's just keep it in view. Come on, move. So I can have the bands ready. I just want to have the bands ready. I know it's super massive. I don't. Is it down? Yes, there it is. Okay. So yeah, please tell me which country. Which country? Brazil. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's go to Brazil. So you will look into the bands, right? So you have the bands here, and this applies for any dumb phone, by the way. Then we'll go to Cell Mapper. Cell Mapper is an open source tool, or as open source as it can be. It's an open source map tool. Yes, I'll get to the F125 people. I'll get to the questions. Thank you for asking. Let's do Brazil, right? So we did Brazil. Please tell me which carrier you use. So let's say you're probably like, I don't know, Sao Paulo or Brasilia, or I don't know where you're at, but let's just tell me which carrier do you use. So let's go to provider. You'll go to provider, then you go to Brazil. You look Brazil. Come on. Okay, we'll go by. Let's go to Brazil. Brazil, there it is. Okay, so in Brazil, let's just do Claro. Claro is one of the giants out there. And let's look into their 5G network. Not very big right now, but the 4G LTE network, it's big. Let's just go to, where is this? Um, Okay, let's go to a big city. Salvador. That's too north. Okay, here. This is a big area right here. Perfect. So let's say you live. I'm just making this up. By the way, I don't know where you live, but I'm just saying like, okay, he lives, let's say, in this area of Coroa or Villa Guilherme, right? The closest bands to you, the closest area is bands 1, 3, 7, and 28. So we'll go look into the Sunbeam F1, and it says it has 2, 3, 4, 5, 12, 13, 20, and 71. So out of the areas in your neighborhood, again, I'm just making this up, that you live here, but in the areas of your neighborhood, you only have 1 out of 4. So you're going to have weak coverage on this specific device. Same thing, like let's say you have a different carrier, like let's say you have Chim, I think it's Chim. In this area, they have 2 towers close nearby to Villa Guilherme, and then they have 1, 3, and 7. So you have 1 out of the 3 bands that they operate with. So that's what I would do. Go to your neighborhood, see what they use. The green towers are the ones that are lit. The red towers have been disposed of or they're not active. And look in your carrier, right? So if you have Vivo Brasil, if you have Oi, or you have Nextel, or you have Unifique, or I don't know, I'm just making it up here. Archia or Arkia, they don't have any towers there. So Algar Telecom also doesn't have any towers there. What about Oi? Doesn't have any towers. Nextel? Nope. Team? They do have towers. So 3, 7, 28, and 1 are the most common towers in your area, assuming that you live here. So you need to find a phone that has these bands. And then that is the first step into knowing whether your phone is able to work in your area. So that is just kind of like an example, right? Like, so you look into like, okay, I live in this neighborhood. In my neighborhood is 3, 7, and 28. And in my place of work here, I don't know, in Pineiros, I travel to work and it's 1, 3, 7, and 28. The Sunbeam F1 has 3. That's the only one that will work in my area. So I will be probably out of luck most of the time, but it should work in certain regions. Do you want to have that spotty connection? I don't know. It's up to you, but it's just kind of like an example of what I would do and be like, okay, let me look into the bands. Let me look into Cell Mapper. Let me look into like the Sunbeam F1s. Which ones does it have available and which one doesn't match? And of course, if the company comes up with a new phone, then yes, it'll be better. Okay, more questions and answers. Alrighty. Old Peter says, what are your thoughts on the Hisense A10 planned to be released this year? Finally coming back from Hisense in the E Ink phones. I actually had not heard about it, so this is the first time I'm hearing about it. I'm glad to hear Hisense A10. Okay, this was 2 months ago. I missed it. I missed the release. Some people say it's more likely to be fake than real. So far there is no. Okay, maybe Hisense is back in 2026. New high e-reader. There's a video, but there's no really like confirmation, like actual solid confirmation. So yeah, if they come up with a device, that'll be great. But I mean, I'll have to see more robust information. It kind of came at the same time. And it just has one source, so that's it. I mean, it'll be nice to have it, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, let's see. Bryce asks, do you know anything more about the Cat F25? Orbic responded to emails that it's still coming, but no release information to share. Yeah, so again, it's the same thing. Orbic, it has been in the development of a plant here in the United States. They have been, and I don't know if they're going to produce it here or if they're going to produce it somewhere else. yeah, they're saying that's still coming, but again, we still don't have details. I would love for have a refresh of the Cat S22, Cat F125. Let's just look it up for a picture for people to know where it is. So this is the device. Um, can they make it? Yeah, 100%. But we're still kind of like on hold. And I think the company is also on hold. So I don't necessarily think that they're looking into it, just right away and looking into releasing it or whatnot. I think they're like waiting into it. So I asked the licensing department at CAT. They said that they were working on it, that it's kind of like in the back burner, and that's essentially what they're saying to everybody else, right? Like, hey, it's coming, but it's not tomorrow. And once it comes out, I think it's going to be a success because the Cat S22 had so much success that they're just iterating onto it, making a little bit, nicer design or whatever. And I think it's just going to work a ton better. So hopefully Orbic will be able to release the device soon. They'll make a decent amount of money, and hopefully they'll be able to update as well, the device. But we'll just have to wait and see. Yes. Ashley says like there's a guy that's working on light phone apps. Yes, I think he did an amazing job with the Spotify client that has light kind of like ethos and whatnot. And I believe that it will be great to have something like that. Somebody that really cares and is a talented developer work for the light team. I agree. I did pass the information to Joe from the project for Spotify to see if the team is going to implement something like that, or hopefully maybe some conversations and hiring this dude. So yeah, that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. Great member of the community and creating apps that are helpful. I think it's always a plus. Bum bum. White Bread says, I have been impressed with the sight phone so far. Really solid device for the price. Yeah, I think it's a good device. Talk about price, right? Like, we're talking about like these devices, right? So for example, if you get the sight phone, it's $299. Yeah, is that cheap? Not necessarily, but making this device is expensive. The R&D. I mean, just look at the Meadow. There's another device I'm keeping my eyes on. This device is just a screen, and it's a small screen, and it's like $399. And why is it that? Why is it $400? Well, it's not necessarily because it's difficult to do some of the things once this device is shipped, but it's just like getting the manufacturing, getting some of the stuff. I mean, just to give you an example, this device, the Headphone K1, which is a QWERTY device that people are trying to revive right now. I've actually gotten some inquiries from you guys. You guys are trying to take some entrepreneurial path. Hopefully one of you will be able to revive this, but this device is not cheap. Like you would think like, oh, hey, like this device is probably $20 and like they'll be able to develop it for very little. Actually, no, like this device, it's $100+ just the device. So like now you're taking into account importing that device, getting the capital, making sure that you're paying yourself a decent amount of money to live, maintaining the company, operating the expenses, returns, customer service. I mean, like all of that has to be taken into account. So when people say like dumb phones are expensive, I'm like, yes, they are not cheap, like $50, but whenever you get a device like the sight phone, whenever you get a device like the light phone, you're not just buying into a device that you're going to purchase for a year or two. You're doing it for an extended period of time, and you have to take that into consideration. Also, I want to remind you of this. I think a lot of people forget this. Moto Razr V3 original MSRP. So I want to remind you of this. The original MSRP of the V3 in 2004 was $499. Think about that. $499 for a device that, didn't have, it was cool, it was great, but it was $500. It wasn't cheap, and whenever you did the activation, they dropped it to $299. That's still very expensive. Now these devices have way more RAM, way more R&D, because right now the easy thing, I'll just show you. If you go to Alibaba, and you want to find a supplier, an ODM, right? Let's just do smartphone 5G, right? If you get a smartphone 5G just out of the factory and ready for you to be used, right? Right here, boom, 5G smartphone, 7.3 inch, essentially an iPhone knockoff. This is an Android device with Android 15. 1 to 19 pieces, $45. Once you get to 10,000 pieces, $30. No, don't get me wrong. This is a crappy device, right? Like, it's not great. But why can they do this? Because the factories in China are making millions of iPhones. And they're like, well, the stock that we're not using or has defects or has that kind of stuff that is, kind of like not the best, not the A quality fruits. I'm taking an analogy from the fruit industry that essentially they have A quality and B quality, and the A quality is the one that makes it to the store and nobody sells the B quality, right? But these guys sell the B quality. So Pro Max, 5G smartphone, with whatever it is that you need, $45 for 20 pieces, right? Okay, let's look for a dumb phone, flip phone. Let's just look for a regular flip phone. No amazing things, no nothing. Okay, flip phone, 4G. Let's see if that. Boom, right here. The AGM M. Okay, no, this one right here. Okay, OEM factory, 4G, not 5G, right? Look at the amount of pieces that you had to get. You had to get one. You can probably order one just because it's already made. To 1,999 pieces, $26, right? And then here's the problem. Now you have to customize it. This is for the European Union, right? So this is a crappy, probably not even Android, device. And it's like already at $26. Now you want to put Android on this. Now you want to make sure that the apps are compatible. Now you want to make sure that you have, over time, you have a lot of, like updates and features, and that kind of stuff. Like, that's a lot of money, right? So like if the smartphone right here, you can order 20 of them for $45, or once you get to 9,000 pieces is 29. And like, it's an Android device and it comes with the cameras and everything. It's probably not going to be great, but like, you can sell this. Let's say you buy 100 pieces, right? You buy them at $45 and then you sell them at $200. You have a lot of profit, but who cares? It's Android. Like, people like it. They use it, whatever. It's a very cheap phone, yada, yada, yada. And we get to a flip phone, not even Android, right? Like, no apps, no nothing, no configuration. And you're starting at $26. Like, it's very, very difficult. So now let's look at the Android button phone, let's look into that. Let's see what we can put. Like, so probably this one, right? 4G LTE, 2 inches, right? Okay, perfect. Now we have a US variant, $16.95. But look at the minimum order quantity, $5,000 for minimum order quantity, right? So yeah, sure. I get it with 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of storage capacity. That's an extra, like $16.95. And I had to order 5,000 of these. Let's do 5,000 right here. That's $84,000 that I have to put into my investment from the get-go for a 2 gigs, 16 gigs of RAM, of storage phone. Who's going to purchase that? Like, come on, like this, it's not easy, right? Like, it's not a cheap device. Like this is a very big investment for a crappy Android device, right? And then you have to customize the software. Then you have to like, okay, we're going to like go into making sure that it has the best applications. And then when people return it, and then, so yes, these devices are expensive. It's not necessarily because the price itself is going to be super expensive, but it's like the research and development. And this is just off the shelf, by the way. We're talking here, for example, giving the side phone, this was a custom made device. Like, it's extremely different. Like it changes the game when it comes to the pricing. So I think you need to really think about like, okay, what's the processor? What's the RAM? What's the operating system? Like, all of these things are expensive because it's easier to make a smartphone that is already made and resell it at a low price than actually make a new phone with new RAM and new processors and make it something that you're actually proud to sell. So there you go. Rant over. Next question. Wow, we have a lot of questions today. Does this iPhone support wired headphones through its USB-C port? Yes, it does. I tested that yesterday. Another question. Could you please confirm in the slight wobble on the light phone scroll wheel is normal? Yes, it is normal. Could you show zoomed in how much wobble your scroll wheel has? Yes, I can do that. Here, let me take off the case so that you can see that. I have the dumb wireless case, which is the best case in the market, in my opinion. All right, cool. Let me go into the... Okay. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Oh, let me make sure that I don't lose focus. Okay, there you go. We're in focus. I hope you're able to see a little bit better. It's not a ton of wiggle, but like there is a little bit of wiggle, if you will. You know, I don't know if that was helpful. Hopefully it was. Maybe this way. Yeah, so like you're able to move it a little bit, but not like it's not a lot. Like, yeah, like I don't think it will be noticeable in the camera. Let me see if I can go even further, and no, it's not gonna allow me. The focus is, yeah, maybe I can do this like right this. There is again some wiggle. I'll do it again. There you go. But it's not a lot. Like you can move it, but it's not a ton. So hopefully that helps. Let me punch out. Okay, cool. So it is normal, but it's not like a lot, you know, in my unit. Okay. Next question. When will iPhone come to Pakistan? Doubt it, man. I mean, like, honestly, the certifications are mainly the problem. The easiest thing that you could do, because it's compatible, it's most likely compatible. Because I know it's compatible in India, so, you know, similar carriers, similar infrastructure around that area. So I would just order one, find one that you can order, and try it out for yourself, because they're probably never going to ship to that area. Just certifications alone, it's very expensive. So yeah. Joe says, I asked them about what they said they're making an announcement. I think they might be an automated email though. It was a very quick reply. Yeah. Since Trump losing the tariff case in the courts, give me a second. Do you think this decision will affect the prices of the iPhone 3? No, I don't think so. I think at this point they're just going to stick, because while the tariffs were one right now, he's going to try to do something. And instability is just not a good thing. So, yeah. All right. A lot of people don't buy the phone because of the price. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people don't buy the phone because of the price, but honestly, I don't think they're trying to aim to have millions of people buy the phone either. Like, I mean, at least I don't think that's the positioning that makes the most sense, because they could make probably a cheaper device, but I think they're trying to do something different. Yeah. So, but yeah. Okay. Charlie, welcome. The Minimal Company Dev. Yeah, awesome. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Okay, we're done with the questions so far. There's one more. I guess Vinay. Help me pronounce it once you have time. India is a huge market. Why don't new companies always keep India out and say it as an import back as we'll consider later, like Clix Communicator? I'll give you a response. The reason why is this. This is why. This is the company that keeps other companies out. Not necessarily because of the companies. It's not that they don't want to go into India. It's that they're competing against this. Like, you know, let's go to, is this the plans? Devices here. Devices. You're competing against this. 799 rupees. Or at the smartphone world, 1499 rupees. Right? Like Geo, they make everything in that region, in your region. And it's kind of like, oh, do you want to buy a $799 phone, or do you want to buy a Poco phone? Do you want to buy a Geo phone, right? Like, I mean, that's, you know, there's no competition. So Geo smartphone, right? Let's go into how much it costs. So which one is it? Is it this one? There was a phone that came out from Geo, and they're like, yeah, like, I mean, who's going to compete against Xiaomi, Redmi, right? So like, let's see, Xiaomi, Redmi A5, I don't know. It's probably a cheap phone, right? From a few years ago. How much is it? Let's see, $83, right? Let's go to rupees. 7,000 rupees, right? 7,000 rupees, $83. You go to the Geo, 799 rupees. That's $8. Even with the smartphone, right? Number one. Now let's look at this. Indian average wage. 20,000 to 32,000 as of 2023 to 2026. Regular salaried workers are averaging 21,103 rupees per month. This means, okay, they average $231. This is the average, right? Let's just give the example of the light phone. $230, that's a month salary, right, for a worker. And the light phone is $799, right? Times or divided by $799, or the other way around. $799 divided by 231. 3.4 months. 3.5 months worth of wages to buy one phone. Help me understand who is going to do that, right? Like, I am not an expert in India, number one. But I look at it from the socioeconomic perspective. And I understand a little bit of the socioeconomic perspective, right? But it is left out because of cost. And I'm not even showing you this. Sorry. My bad. My bad, everybody. So like, let's go back a few, right? So I asked the question that average wage for Indian salaried workers. 21,000 rupees, right? So now let's do that to USD, $230. The light phone costs $790 or $699, I think, $699 divided by 230. 3 months worth of wages. Who's spending 3 months worth of wages on the average salary on a phone when I can go and buy the Redmi? Let's just look at this latest price in India, right? There it is. Let's look into it. Latest price for this, if I want to buy it, is what, $100? Something like that. That's half of someone's salary. 16,499 rupees to USD, $180 181 divided by 230, it is 78% of your wages, right? So 78, so 3/4 of the week. So 3 weeks to buy a smartphone versus 3 months to buy a smartphone or a dumb phone. Tell me which one makes sense. Like, I mean, I'm just looking at it from a very simplistic perspective, right? And at the volume that these companies are producing and the price, like, will they, yeah, will they actually buy it? And you're saying like India is the world's second largest smartphone market by volume and third largest by value. I agree. But what is the phone that you see on the streets? Do you see a premium device or do you see a budget phone? Nothing wrong with either, but which one do you see? So like, yeah, like, I mean, when you have to look into like support features, getting into the market, like battling against Geo, like, I mean, you have Geo, right? Like, people buy this phone for 799 rupees, right? Like, how much is that? How much is 799 rupees? It is $8. If I make 23,000 rupees and I want to buy a simple phone, would I buy the $8 phone or the $699 phone? I mean, like, I really, it's just like a it's a macroeconomic question at this point. Which one do I buy? Which one do people are going to buy? Are they going to prioritize me? Or am I going to be a brand that is just like, like just simple? Like, to me, it's simple. It's an economics question, right? Like, and let's just ask, what's the most popular smartphone in India? And by the way, we're just looking into, regular data here. Like, I'm not verifying all of this. It's just like what Google gives us. Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, OnePlus 13R, Motorola Edge 50, Iku Neo 10R, Samsung Galaxy S24, Xiaomi 15. Okay, perfect. There it is. And look at the prices. Oh, perfect. We have the prices. Okay, so let's look at number 4, right? So 27,000 rupees, right? How much is 27,000 rupees? Again, I don't. $300, right? So average person salary. You want to go into the OnePlus 13R? Okay, let's do 39,000 rupees. 2 months of salary. But now we're into the light phone at $699 is 63,000 rupees, right? You're competing against the Vivo X200. You're competing against, like saying like, oh, don't get a Samsung Galaxy S25 or a Motorola Edge Ultra, which is cheaper. Get the light phone that can do less. Like, you have to understand that companies prioritize their markets based on who do you think is actually going to buy it. Because shipping is not cheap. I mean, I'll just give you an example. I shipped to India a phone about 2 months ago. The phone cost me $150. For me to ship a phone from here to India cost me $200. $200 to ship a $150 phone. Now, I'm not a company, I'm just an individual. But yeah, like it's just kind of like you had to look into the market. You had to look into the shipping logistics, the tariffs, right? Like, I mean, it's very, very difficult. And you saying like you might be shocked to know how that Indian people spend way too much more than they should. 100%. Consumerism is rampant in this world. I do not disagree with you on that. But you have to look at it from the company's perspective. Who's actually going to buy the device? How they're going to return it? How am I going to do these things? These are not easy questions, and they're not going to just, do it in that way. So, just an FYI. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay. For LP3, I can highly recommend the Lava Boost sleeve case card holder. Okay, Lava Boost sleek. What do you say? Sleeve case, light phone 3. Let's see what you're talking about. Ah, yes. Java Boost. I think that's what you meant. Is you put L. Yes, it's kind of like a sleeve, and you can put cards. Yeah, I've seen them. I think I actually have one. I'll take a look into that. But I think I did have one. Cool. Mm-mm-mm. No raffle today. Keeping it real. All right. When do you think parts of LP3 will be available on iFixit? People in Europe find it really difficult, especially because of the cost and tariffs to send repairs to the US. Yeah. That's a good question. I don't really think that that's their priority right now, to be honest. But I think eventually will happen. So yeah, just I hope that happens sooner rather than later. Okay. All right. I think we have reached the end of our. Oh, yeah. I want to. Just one of you said Molly Signal Fork. Ah, Molly is an independent signal fork for Android. It's an improved signal app. Oh, maybe they have been working on this. It'll be interesting to see. Hopefully. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, we'll see how that looks. That's all I have for today, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you have any extra questions, let me know. One just came in as I'm asking. Let's best dumb phone under $200. All right, let's go to a dumb phone finder. Let's go into 200, so less than 200, right there. Boom. And let's see 4 and 5-star dumb phones. Boom, boom. There it is. All right, we have to choose here. Gap phone, LG Classic, Mindful phone, Nokia 2254G. Okay, let's eliminate some things here. Help me. What else do you need, Dr. Gupta? What else do you need? I mean, do you want to go super smart? Do you want to not go super smart? Because here are some options. But some people need WhatsApp, that kind of stuff. I like the Sony XP3 Plus. I think that's a great device. Actually, it's a very, very good device in my opinion. The Cat S22, definitely another good device. But yeah. In the meantime, no Android. Okay, no Android. There you go. All right, so let's go to Dumbphone Lifestyle Change. Oh, no. Let's go to Feature Phone. Yeah. No Android, so let's go to RTOS or KaiOS, ThreadX, Series 30. All right, so I had to pick best dumb phone among all of these. Nokia 2254G, Nokia 2780, Nokia Barbie phone, Cat B40. I will probably put the AGM M11 here. Let me include it with a 3-star. That one should have a 3-star, I would say, right? Did I classify as a 3-star? Yeah, here. Cat B40, TCL Flip 4. Yeah. Cool. A little more options. I would say if I had to pick one, let's kill the 3 stars. If I had to pick one that's not Android, I'll probably pick the Nokia 2780 for under $100. After that, I will probably pick the AGM M9. Dumb Wireless sells that one as far as I know. Right here, AGM M9. Yeah, it's $50. It's a no frills, cheap phone that does calls and text messages. The next one is the AGM M11 because of the cloud apps. You have access to a few extra things. It is a massive phone. I don't necessarily like that personally, but AGM M11, AGM M9, Nokia 2780, TCL Flip 4. Those are probably the ones that kind of like come into my radar. All right, let's see what else. Let's see. Federico asks EcoMine 1 versus Unihertz Titan Elite. Right now, I will go with Unihertz Titan Elite if I had to pick between those two. But I'm waiting on the case for the EcoMine 1. So I'll let you know once I have the case. That's going to seal my final review. Yeah. So that's probably my thinking right now. But once I have the case, I'll be able to test it. Hopefully it's a good one, and they'll be able to keep it. Do you still own the Docomo E Ink phone? No, I don't. I actually was looking through it. I gave it away. I gave it away to a subscriber and one of the giveaways in the past. So HMD Terra M. Yeah, that's an enterprise phone. Here, I'll look it up for people so they know what you're talking about. HMD Terra M. So this is it's going to be an Android device that you'll be able to buy in Europe, but this is an enterprise device. It's made for companies. It's not necessarily made for people like consumers, just regular consumers. It's made for companies. And that's why it's always going to be out of stock most of the time, because it's made so that you can contact them. Also, 2 gigs of RAM and 32 of storage. It's already very slow. While I think it would be good to run maybe like 1 or 2 apps, there are better options for 179. And as you see, like full support, MDM enrollment, managed professional services. Again, this phone is meant with the business community in mind. It's not meant for consumers. So, yeah. The Docomo is able to open web pages. Yeah. The question is if it's going to work in your area and you're going to find it unlocked. It's very difficult. Have you heard anything about the Titan 2 battery issues? No, I haven't. Let's do a cursory look right here. Reddit always has it. Titan 2 battery 3 months ago. So my full time, I was invited for a local event, yada, yada, yada. The Titan 2 battery is actually scary. I charged mine, blinked twice, and suddenly it's 2 days later and still like, they're like, try me coward. Meanwhile, my other phone dies faster than my motivation on Monday. Oh, okay, so people find typing enjoyable. After somebody issues, now I'm on day 3 and still have 45%. Well, people seem to not have many issues. 3 weeks ago, battery analysis. When under 85%, it will charge at this. When over 86%, it charges at that. Seems to be some fluctuation in the charging. Interesting. It's very intermittent. 3-day battery life. People are saying, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Have you seen any other things? I mean, I only seen positive things here. Let's put battery issues. Overcharging. Okay. Battery went nuts. Negative 61%. Battery stuck. Trying to recalibrate the battery. Yeah, showing exactly negative 61% before the reason to find normal again. Okay, yeah, so it seems like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Very interesting. It doesn't show why. That's some exploded. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. Now we're talking. Yeah. I mean, I can see that. That's a problem. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad, actually. So hopefully they'll be able to find the root cause, because that's a big issue. So It seems like it's not the only person. And yeah, this is negative 61% thing. Issue. Yeah. Battery issue. Analysis. Yep. Yep. But this was the first main issue, right? Like the warping, right? It's kind of like the main issue. That's pretty bad. So hopefully that doesn't happen to a lot more people. We'll see what happens. It's been a lot of readings. Cool. Interesting. Hopefully it's not a big issue. All right, let's see. Just pre-ordered the Clix Communicator. When do you expect it to come out? Probably around October. That's my guess. That's an optimistic guess, by the way. They said December, but I think probably they'll be able to make it by October. Bum, bum, bum. Cool, cool, cool. Cool. All right, y'all. It's been 2 hours almost. We're going to cap it at that. I need to go and redo the timestamps as always if you've been watching afterwards. Hopefully that helps you. And if you have any questions, make sure to put them in the comments. I'll be interacting with you all. And stay tuned for the new series, the field testing. I think it's going to be a fun video. It's like a vlog-like video that I plan to do with some of these different phones. Be like, okay, let's take it out. Let's test it. Let's do, some of these things and check it out. But as always, put the comments. We'll be interacting. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I'm excited about this year. It seems that a lot of people are trying to regain their agency by looking into the different by looking into the idea, the new. Okay, I lost my train of thought. I think a lot of people are looking into dumb phones because they want to recover their agency and not be doom scrolling all the time. So I'm really excited about those developments. And then a question came that said, are there any alternatives for the Cat S22? And yes, there is. So there is this thing called the Kitty ROM. Kitty, I think it's this one, Kitty 2. And I highly recommend that you check it out. So Kitty ROM, it's just Google this, Cat S22 Kitty ROM, and you'll be able to find some of these, different ROMs and that kind of stuff, alternative operating systems for the Cat S22. But yeah, go take a look into that. But anyways, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. And I'll try to make sure that the next live stream is not at the last day of the month or very close to it. Especially I'll be transitioning jobs, so I'll be having more time. So maybe we'll do 2 live streams in the upcoming month. We'll see about that. Anyways, see ya. And hope you have a great day, great evening, great night, and a great weekend. See you next time.